All right, what's going on, guys? I'm back again. Talk about another stock. The stock is called Cube Smart, ticker symbol CUBE. But before I get into the stock and talk about it, I like to say this. Hey, I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some guy on YouTube. And before you buy any of the stock, please talk to a financial advisor and make a proper choice if this will match your portfolio. Now, I'm going to talk about Q Smart. It gives a 4.19% dividend yield, a really high dividend yield. And they do offer self-storage and 24-hour videos. And they do bring what they call these cube boxes to your house so you can store and move your stuff. So this company did very well during COVID. And they made a pretty good profit margin. They're pretty much almost everywhere now. And they really don't have much room to grow because they already have the moving trucks. They already have the packing. They already give, pretty good size storage. And for a company that's already maxed out on everything, the only thing they can do is add more locations to increase their revenue. So they do currently operate over 1,200 self-storage property across the United States, which is phenomenal. They can keep increasing their portfolio and get a little bit farther, but they can get next year, 2,400. It all depends on how they're gonna decide to spend their money. Now it looks like they're gonna self-owns or manage, well, this site says 1,493 self-storage property across the United States. And their main motto is designed to offer affordable, easily accessible, and in most locations, climate control storage space, which every day someone's moving and they need storage places. Now, let's check quick Google, see if there's any bad news. No, it's not. This is one of the things you have to do. If they start getting bad news, it's not good to invest into the company. Bad news can end up losing you money. Good news might increase. So the analysis says it's a hold. So that's a good thing. If it's a hold, they can't determine if it's going to go up or down. Now, last quarter, they did fail to meet their EPS by 0.001, which before that, they met it and over-exceeded by a little bit. So, that's not bad. Earnings. Okay, so the earnings not bad. And 2024, the earnings is 1.15 for revenue, and earnings is 0.042. And this is end of the fiscal year. The dividend is 0.51. Book value is 12.28. So it doesn't look terrible. So net profit is what I like to see. They have a 39.27% net profit. That's a huge margin. That's very good for dividend people. So their revenue is 1.5 or 1.05 billion. It increased from the previous year by 0.4%. But in COVID, it jumped up as expected, 0.21% and 0.22%. As I expected, cost of goods will go down. I mean, not as many people's moving. After that, gross profit. I mean, these numbers look phenomenal. If you're talking about a company that makes really good money, I can't see anyone better at this point. Now, in the past 5 years, they're up 45%. In the past 3 years, they're down 1.3% or 1.32%. And the last year, they're up 5.47%. But year to date, they're up 4.28%. So the 1 year, 3 year, 5 years look, the only bad one was the 3 year mark, but it wasn't that bad. They do give a 4.19% dividend yield. So every stock you own, you get a $2 yield, which that's not bad. Year to date, it looks pretty good. But let's look at the investors. BlackRock increased their shareholding. Vanguard increased it, and Fidelity increased it. So those three big companies, that it looks like it should be a pretty easy company to purchase. Now let's look at the option. Now this does have a low volatility rate, so you're not going to see changes on this stock that often, but there's a call option at $50, which, okay, and there's put option at 35, 40, and 45, which, you know what, that's pretty good. It's protecting it from dropping really. And let's see. This did make one of the top dividend by monthly fools, and it's a realty company. So they really don't have much option besides paying out dividend. Now, let's look at the trade volume. Do they have insider trading on this right now? Let's see. Yeah, that should be the insider. I guess they don't have any inside trading on this right now. Finance. It's not. Just looking at this, let's check how did they miss a dividend payment. Let's look at they should have it on there. Let's see what they rate them. So they rate them as a hold by Zach. So it does not look like they missed out on any dividend payout. Since 2011. So looking at the history, it looks like it's a pretty good idea. Annual dividend growth yield is a 12%. Payout is 76%. And number of time it increases dividend yield is 5%. So is it worth investing in? You know what? I'm going to keep an eye on this, but it looks like I will buy this. I'm hoping it drops to 46.42. If it does drop to 46, I will probably purchase some. Just because it looks good. I used to have this in my portfolio. I sold out of Cube because after COVID, I didn't think it was going to do anything else. Because I figured in 2 years, everyone's going to move. And then everyone needed to stay put for a while because they were staying at their current companies. But then people were going to move either back to where they came from or to another state for better job opportunities. During COVID, it was a major move for a bunch of people. And that's when people find out if they like where they moved to. And it might take 2 years to buy a house or sell their current house and get settled in, get the kids settled in or everything else, and then move away again for going back to either their own state or another state because they don't like the state they move into. As you know, that a lot of people moved during COVID time, so that's why they had that peak. And once they had that peak, I kind of sold out in 2022 and figured it wasn't gonna recover for a while because everyone already moved. As this is a storage unit, even though they gave a good dividend yield, I didn't trust that in the next 2 years after COVID it was going to do well. So that's the reason why I sold out, because it wasn't a stock that I wanted to hold for 5 or 10 years. It was a stock I wanted to hold for a year or two because of COVID and the need of COVID. So I'm thinking there's going to be a need again for another move. It's not going to be as big as COVID period, but it's going to be mediocre, and that's for people that moved to Florida and didn't like Florida, or they got too crowded and they want to go back to New York, or people who moved to Texas, Montana, one of those states, and say, hey, I actually don't like this, and they want to move back to California or their original states. That's what people do. They move because they see that something's a better deal, but then they find out that area is not something they like. And I'm noticing that the Fidelity, BlackRock, and Vanguard are starting to purchase their stocks. So with them starting to purchase their stock, I think it's going to cause an increase for investors coming in and holding some after, at the end of the year when people claim their loss. I might pick some up as people will probably get rid of it because this year it didn't give them as much gain as they wanted, or their 3 years is in a negative and they're going to take the loss for it. And I'm going to keep an eye on this, as if it does hit $46, it shouldn't drop much lower looking at the puts and the options. And just looking at it, it shouldn't get much lower. They have some good breaking points for it, protection levels. So if it does get to 46, 45, if it gets to 35, be great, because then I'll pick up some there and write it out for the next few years for it to recover, because they do have a 30% gross profit. So they're a profitable company. The numbers that you see here of it going up and down isn't really worry as much as, hey, they're almost at a 40% net profit. And that is, hey, I'm making money and they're not going to go bankrupt. And that's what I look out for, is a company going bankrupt, being bought out. And this showing how much profit they made in 2023. I can't wait to see what happened in 2024 when they announce it at the end of the year. And when they announce it, if it goes up or down, it'll cause it to, either go up or go down, because it's showing that it's a very profitable business. And just being profitable is really nice. Now, Cube is rated on a hold with the next 12 months target rate at 46.42. So if it does go to 46.42, I might pick some up at that point, because then guess what? BlackRock's buying them, Fidelity's buying it, Vanguard's buying it. Those are really 3 big companies for investment, and it just be good in my portfolio. So I'm gonna put a watch on this and make sure that I keep an eye on it and hopefully it gets to $46 and I can purchase this stock. So please like and subscribe to my videos and stay tuned for some more stock videos.